Oh, it has to be great to live here in the great state of Texas with all of our great leaders, great legislation, great laws, all that good stuff. Hello.
Paxton is a criminal. Criminal.
Hey.
I just need to come in and say that. Like, he's a criminal. Goddamn criminal. And Greg Abbott is a scammer. How you gonna sue and get all your money from a lawsuit, and then as soon as you get elected to office, put a cap on the amount of money people can get from lawsuits? I fucking hate it here.
Because, hey man, look, that's the equivalent of pulling the ladder up with you after you become successful.
It's the equivalent of fucking having a ladder to get yourself out of a burning building, and then once you get to the bottom, pulling the ladder away from the window so nobody else can get out. I fucking hate it.
Hey man, and old Kenny Paxton said he beat the case like Rocky. Not really. He's still trying to work that shit out.
Case. They just can't prosecute him because he's still fucking an elected official. I cannot wait. I just hope that they are at his home the minute his term ends. I need him to be on the doorstep to take him into custody.
Look,
fuck that.
Man, look, I'm hoping somebody do to old Greg Abbott like the white lady in White Chicks when she rolled up to Terry Crews's character, and somebody just come through and like just kick him out the way, like get up out of here. Anyways, welcome everybody. This is another episode Chopping Up with Q, and you see what mood we're in, right? Going into this stuff, like for all those who don't know, we do live in Texas, and apparently Texas is. Look, they double and tripling down on this craziness, and I think
it's very hold my beer-ish.
Definitely, like, oh, you thought DT was crazy? Let me show you crazy. Let's get this, and so yeah, we got a bunch of.
The part that's like concerning about it is because anytime Texas does something, Florida's like, oh, we're gonna do it too. We can't be beaten, and then Florida does something, Texas is like, oh, we got to do it too because we can't be like out crazy by Florida. Like it's, I don't understand what is the problem.
I mean, right now we're running the COVID Olympics. See who can get the highest numbers. It's like, like basketball. Man, we finna run the score up. Let's just see who gonna win.
Yeah, the prize is COVID loans.
Look, man,
and death. That's what everybody's been waiting. Girls go up for COVID loans.
Oh yeah. So. Just kind of roll right into it. For all those people who don't know, the state of Texas has passed many different laws that went into effect of September 1st. Some of the key ones will be not teaching kids CRT, which wasn't happening anyway, but that's fine. We have a
those of you who don't know, it's critical race
theory.
I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but for those of you who don't know and aren't really paying attention because it's not something that's actually pertinent to most people, they're banned from teaching critical race theory, which is something that nobody was ever teaching at any school ever, because if they were teaching anything that was remotely close to the truth, CRT would be the least of our worries.
Yes,
like, definitely. Let's just start with like a closer retelling of history that's not from like a white man's perspective. Let's start there. Like, we don't even have to get to the CRT. We aren't anywhere close to that yet. I promise.
And it's actually funny because the way that they defined it was defined as ambiguously as possible, because it was everything but exactly what it was, which is it's taught in law schools for people to analyze law with a racial, through a racial lens, and how race plays a role in how laws are created. Makes sense. You're not teaching a kindergarten that so they can just look at you dumbfounded like, huh? So, yeah. But Texas decided to say, hey, we said CRT, so anything race-related is off the table, right? So no more Martin Luther King, no more civil rights. The KKK, they weren't that bad. They had a different ideology. That's what we'll say. Hell, even throw Susie B. Anthony in there. She's white as all get out. But women's suffrage? Nah, we good, B. Don't worry about it. So on and so forth.
It's just very wild that they even think that that's a thing. But of course, they describe it very ambiguously as to be like, we don't want white people feeling bad about things that happen to black people. So you can't talk about it in any way that makes it seem like white people are evil or bad. And so they give this very vague, ambiguous, whatever, we just don't want anybody's feelings hurt joint. But it's like, also, when you sit here and talk about the decimation of other communities and people of color's heritages, you don't think that they sit in school and feel bad about that?
Recording in progress.
I mean, maybe, but then again, that's some real big brain stuff because no one cares if someone feels bad. I mean, to feel sympathy or empathy for something that has happened is fine. No one's saying that you directly should feel, feel quote unquote like you did it. That's not how history is taught at all. If you think that, maybe you should go back to school. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, I think it's interesting, right? Like, I think it's this whole thing of like white fragility and white guilt about things that have happened or things that have been perpetrated against other groups of people. And instead of just being able to say shit was fucked up, they want you to be like, oh no, everything's fine. America's so great. And that's just a part of the heritage and how we got here. Like, instead of just being able to say that some horrible shit happened, they want you to gloss over that fact. And I think that it's shitty to feel like you cannot have both a commitment to nationalism, which is a whole other whatever.
Yeah.
But you can be proud of America and America's achievements while also acknowledging that sometimes America as a whole is kind of a fucked up place to live for certain groups. Like, that is okay. Like, nobody is saying like, fuck this bitch, we want to saw a piece of it off and go live somewhere else. We're just saying, hey, like, instead of saying that George Washington had wooden teeth, it is perfectly acceptable to tell the truth and say, no, actually, his teeth were a set of dentures made from the slaves of the teeth of other slaves that they just pulled out of their fucking mouths.
Yep.
So that he could have teeth. I mean, nobody sitting in this classroom is the fucking George Washington's cousin or sister or brother. Nobody was there to pull the teeth out themselves, but it's okay to acknowledge, like, damn, that is
that's a horror.
They pulled teeth out of somebody else's mouth to give that man teeth.
Yeah, basically, I'm gonna need those and ask.
Like, and it doesn't take. And again, like, I think that it's this thing where they feel like because you're criticizing them criticizing America, that you somehow hate the place or whatever. And it's like, what is this delusion? Like, why is it okay to tell the truth about a million other things, but when it comes to race, we have to act like we can't tell the truth about what happened? Like, I don't expect you to be culpable for something that happened before we were both born. Yeah. Like, obviously, none of us were there for that. But I can expect you to be like, geez, that is some fucked up shit. And I acknowledge that sometimes white people, especially back then, in terms of slavery, were really horrible to black people.
Yeah, either horrible.
That's all we're asking for is an acknowledgement of the fucking truth and the facts. We're not asking you to fucking try to pay a penance because your ancestors were shitty. We just ask you to acknowledge the shittiness that your ancestors did to other groups of people influences the way those people live and have to live in America now. Yeah. That's it.
Like, that's it. There you go. I have nothing else to add to that because that's all it is. It's just look at things in context. Please analyze. How does this affect things now? Damn, that's kind of terrible. I wonder if this thing still persists or does it still have weight to this day? That's all. That's it.
Fix it.
That's it. Can we fix this? Sure. All right, cool. Let's work on that. Anyway. And that's so there's it. That's it. Is that
There's
simple?
No critical race theory being taught to your children. There never was. I promise. I swear to God. Because most history classes are being taught by the fucking baseball coach. I assure you the baseball coach is not teaching your fucking children critical race theory. So sorry.
Hell no. I mean, hell, let's really keep it real. The most we learned about black folks was slave trade. That was number one. And that's kind of where the history starts for us. Then we get into, we don't even really talk about Reconstruction and how fucked up that was.
What I remember, as I told somebody before, what I generally remember about taking classes that were about U.S. history is most of the time you get post-Civil War Reconstruction as the start of your class.
I think for us,
I mean, it's not everybody, but I will say for me specifically, I can remember when I took history in grade school, the history that we were taught was like Reconstruction. It was post-Civil War. Like, we weren't talking about things up to that point. We did that. Post-Civil War. Like, you do a restart from Reconstruction forward.
Yeah. So we started with of course, the American Revolution, and then you got tidbits of the Civil War, but of course, it's told with a very kid gloves, pretty much. Like, it's not really upfront and honest about a lot of the stuff. But and then we get Reconstruction,
you get states' rights bullshit.
Yeah. It was about preserving the Union, which is true. That was true. But the idea of strictly saying and openly saying that, yes, the South left because of the institution of slavery, we don't ever have that conversation. There's always, states' rights. Yeah, rights to do what? Exactly. But anyways. And so, yeah. It
right
goes
to have slaves.
Yeah, it goes there.
The right to have slaves.
I mean, but if you think about it, it goes there, Reconstruction, and it kind of stops. It doesn't tell how that part ended. And then you go into civil rights era.
Yay, America, one big melting pot. Like, then it's literally like Civil War, Reconstruction, everything's great. Look at this shit. Yeah. Moving on. World War. Oh,
damn, we fell off for a little bit, after post-World War II. Some bad people existed, but they had a great man named Martin Luther King. And he came through with this beautiful speech, and all was well in the story.
Yeah. But then it's crazy because then we do a whole situation with World War II and Nazis and that
then
it's also because America can point a finger and be like, see, these people are horrible. We're not really horrible. They're horrible, and we went over there and saved those people.
Yes.
Which is also revisionist history bullshit, but I digress.
I mean, for all I hate to put this out here but for those, because we demonize them to this day, not being apologetic or anything like that, but the USSR at the time, or the Soviet Union, was a key contributor on why the Nazis were actually beaten. A lot of people don't know that. When Hitler decided to try to invade Russia, which he should have learned from Napoleon, because the same thing, he failed, and therefore he actually led himself to be defeated by the Soviet Union. But anyways, that's just a little small sidetrack.
You knowing stuff sometimes. But, back to these laws.
Then big carry. Matter of fact, I could just go buy a blicky off the. I ain't got to take no tests. I don't need a license anymore for concealed carry.
Correct, and I'm going to get one.
We're gonna need one. That's just how it's going.
I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, "Girl, I'm not a gun person, but apparently it's gonna have to be a thing." I don't trust people to behave themselves, because as they have shown, they have no regard for anybody else but themselves, and they barely have regard for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So in the spirit of keeping it 100 and keeping myself safe, I guess I'm gonna have to get a pistol too, just in case motherfuckers think that when Smith & Wesson made theirs, that was the last one they made.
I mean, but that's terrible though. We finna be walking around like the Wild Wild West again, Clint Eastwood and shit. Everybody got Nina on the hip. It's crazy.
I guess it's my understanding that you do still have to pass a background check. You just don't have to have a license to carry. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the case, but just keep it real. We don't really want to check and see if someone's competent enough to have one.
Well, I don't think they do a good job of checking already, right?
That's true.
I think Texas is very lax, and I think they already don't do a great job of making sure that your background check, it makes it to where you can have unless you're black and you have a felony,
well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but, unless you're black.
I mean, in that case, we need to start questioning, driver's license. Like, hey, yo, man, look, check this, man. I bought this straight cash. Why do I need a license to drive it? Hell, we let niggas have guns with no checks.
Well, it's about money, right? The licensing for guns probably is not a fairly lucrative business. You can say that a concealed carry permit is, but at the end of the day, I also can go to Walmart and buy a shotgun with no license. So, and ammunition, and leave out and go do whatever the fuck I want to do with that shotgun if I am so inclined.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to say that it's for hunting, and I'm good. So obviously,
you can walk out the door with it day one too. So.
Yeah, you don't need there's no background check going on at Walmart. You're just buying a hunting rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have people that buy from private sellers. You have people that go to gun shows and buy. You have people,
that was the loophole.
And I think what people don't understand is that depending on where you live in Texas, you are so close to other places that also have lax gun laws. So if I want to go to like Louisiana, or if I want to go to Oklahoma or one of these types of places, I can just cross over to the border, go to a gun show or something, buy whatever I'm going to buy, and then go the fuck home. And as long as I have the shit in my trunk and haven't done anything to make the cops stop me,
yeah, because
I can just come back with 12 guns.
Yeah, I mean, because you having the possession of them, man, they're not in your cab. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, well, technically you can still legally have them as long as it's not in your cab and loaded. So, yeah, we have terrible, terrible laws here in the U.S. in general when it comes to guns. Like, every motherfucker don't need one. I'm sorry. I mean,
well, no, I mean, and I think it's also one of those things where it's concerning because even if you were saying these people could have guns, right? Like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When you couple that with the fact that we do not necessarily have strong gun control laws, that's when it becomes an issue. I don't necessarily have the issue per se with people having guns. The issue has always been that you do not make people take any type of classes. You don't make people take any type of educational courses to have these guns. And so then they don't have, and then you don't require that they have the guns locked up.
Yeah.
And so then you bought 26 guns off eBay, and then when little Mark gets mad, or Susie gets mad, or Brenda, or Karen, or Connor, or whoever the fuck gets mad because the lunch lady didn't give them 2 slices of pizza, now we got another fucking school shooting on our hands because you got 26 guns and no say.
Yeah. See, and I think that's always been my issue with it. I'm not a super huge gun advocate. I love to shoot. I would like to shoot them, but I start thinking about like, yo, if they're in their house, I don't think there's anything I'm willing to shoot somebody over unless like they're literally trying to physically harm my family. All right, fine. But if they go in and like, hey, I'm about to swipe this TV, fuck it, man, take it, whatever. I'll get another one. We'll work that out. But it's not.
I don't think insurance. And just for those of you wondering, like Lemonade, I know it looks like it's cheap shit, $15, but $5 to $10 for renter's insurance usually will cover all the shit in your goddamn apartment.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like,
homeowners insurance, relatively inexpensive, usually will cover the shit in your house. Yeah. Like you really don't have to get into a scuffle over your television.
No,
it doesn't have to be that way.
But when you talk to people, they're like, yeah, somebody come in and steal my TV, I'm shooting them. I'm like, you would kill someone over your TV, bro? Like, really? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I find that weird. Maybe I'm just being soft or whatever, but.
No, they would.
And I don't know. But, yeah, so we'll see how that ends up. My only issue also is the fact that as a black guy, we already are assumed to be dangerous anyway. And so now that this law is a little bit more lax, even if you, like, now they're going to basically, cops could potentially assume you already got it on you regardless of what the situation is. And
right.
so.
Then it's, oh, he's got a gun.
Exactly.
Because you assume everyone has a fucking gun.
Exactly. And so how does this help if cops are already skittish as it is, and now they assume everybody's armed and dangerous? I don't see a good result of that.
There wasn't, but, you know.
Yeah,
as we learned on January 6th,
yeah, hey.
All that hemming and hawing about the thin blue line and back to blue was a bunch of bullshit to begin with.
Oh,
so of course they're not going to pass any laws that would make policing any easier for these people or give them something to, I don't know, potentially keep them from shooting people for no fucking reason. So now I'm sure they're sitting around like, damn, now I got to assume everybody got 6 guns. So yeah, it's going to be the Wild Wild West. So God bless them. I guess I got to be Wyatt Earp or something. Very simple. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's going to be Doctor's Holiday. I don't know.
Oh, man. And another one, lastly, which I look at as a major attack on Roe v. Wade, is we have a new heartbeat bill that's pretty much going to, I'm trying to remember exactly how it's written, but basically along the lines that if a heartbeat is detected, then I don't believe you can actually have an abortion up to that point. I mean, is that correct, or am I misquoting that?
Essentially, yeah. So I think they're saying that you can't have an abortion performed past 6 weeks.
Yeah,
is my understanding.
And I think that's
which is about the time that you can actually detect a heartbeat, because that's about the time that most women find out that they're pregnant. Most people don't know that they're pregnant prior to 6 weeks. So basically, they're saying right about the time you would have a missed period and think to go get a pregnancy test, they're already saying no dice, no abortion.
Oh, damn, you just missed it. Damn, B, if you would have came, a couple days earlier, assuming that you could even get in the same day. But I don't know, man. So
yeah, because they've already, because whatever laws they've already tried to put on the books regarding abortion, they kind of the attack on Planned Parenthood a few years ago, they shuttered a lot of Planned Parenthoods. They ran them out of the communities that they were in, which is unfortunate because Planned Parenthood and a lot of these clinics serve a lot of rural communities where they do not have doctors and hospitals and other places that you can go. So when these places were shuttered, even though those laws were overturned, those places never came back. So those rural places still do not have access to prenatal care or parent or family planning care or even like regular gynecology care.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have access to that. They don't have access to affordable birth control. So it affects women on many different levels because you've taken these places out of the communities where these people are underserved to begin with. You're not doing any type of sex education or providing any type of protection. And then when these people get pregnant or raped or whatever the issue may be, then you're saying, well, I know you just missed your period, but also you can't get rid of this baby. It's yours. Good luck.
Yep. Damn, B, I'm sorry, but looks like you gotta figure something else out. But it's my daddy, baby. Damn, that's fucked up. Ah, well, that'd be $35. Thanks. Well, shit, I wish. That's if you have insurance, maybe. But no, man, it's like,
oh, that's your dad's baby. Oh shit, that sucks. Well, we could take you out of the home and put you in foster care since that's your dad.
mm-hmm.
And we can put your dad on child support, but also you're going to have to keep the baby and you're going to have to share custody with your dad because technically it's his son too and he can see him.
As if we don't put him in jail, then you kind of really, then you're screwed financially too. Sounds like you're in a real pickle. That's pretty much what they're saying. Exactly. It's like, damn.
They're like, woo, job's done here. They pull off the plastic, the rubber gloves. Great. Throw it in the trash. Take off the little mask. Woo, so this has been great. Good luck to you and the baby.
Yep. Next.
Oh
man, you said it was a one night stand and it was one. You want to kind of get a mulligan on this because you got like career aspirations and you don't really care about the guy. What? How long is it? Damn, 6 weeks, 1 day. Damn, B, can't do nothing for you.
Sucks. Well, you have a great day. Hope that career stuff works out for you. Maybe the dad will take care of the baby. Oh, you don't? He doesn't want a baby? Huh.
Damn. Sound like
it's just.
It's just. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get further.
Again.
Yeah.
Maybe pray about it. I'd love to tell you to pray about stuff.
And so with this actual law, it makes me actually start thinking. And then I'll pose the question to you because I start really looking at the idea of what a law in general. In my idea of a law is supposed to actually protect, preserve, and actually enhance life. But when you look at the laws that are being created outside of some cultural bullshit that it don't exist, but they're going to say it does, what is the purpose?
The purpose is to control women. Because even though we like to say that we have a separation of church and state and that, people are, welcome to pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, that only extends to you if you are Christian and white,
wealthy,
evangelical, because the rest of us, it does not matter. And that's unfortunate because the as much as we like to believe it is not, our government is ran by Christian evangelicals because they are the ones pouring money into the government. They're the ones that are these big time donors backing candidates. And then when they get elected, they expect them to pay up. They expect them to make good on the promises. And especially in Texas, because our legislature only meets every 2 years for 140 days.
Yeah. Greatest part-time job ever.
Right. And that's what I tell people. Keep in mind, these people make like $7,000. They make $7,000 for their service. They meet every 2 years and they meet for literally 140 days. Mm-hmm. Like these people meet for an insignificant amount of time. And so they will be the first to tell you. They rely on super PACs and these special interest groups to tell them what's important. When in reality, this shit is not important to the majority of the people that they represent, but these are the people that are presenting ideas to them and then backing those ideas.
Yeah, with money. Which then that goes, big money needs to be taken out of actual politics in general. But I also look at it like this too, because I agree, and I also thought about this too. I don't know if you were aware, but apparently white people their numbers dropped in the U.S. from like 60 to like 58% or something like that, and we already know that a lot of them believe in what's called the Great Replacement myth, where apparently we're trying to replace all white people to make like a homogenous nation where white people don't exist anymore somehow. And so they always have a fear that, white women aren't having enough babies anymore, even though as a society continues
nobody's having enough babies anymore, because babies are expensive and they don't pay a living wage. And homes are expensive, and food is expensive, and gas is expensive, and childcare is expensive, and diapers and formula are fucking expensive.
Everything's
expensive.
So
no one is having a motherfucking baby because they can barely afford to feed themselves.
And as a society gains more information, and as we basically, as it hits its peak, kids are just born less anyway, because you don't have as many anymore. Like I may have 1 to 2, and that's it. That's all you're gonna have, because you've got to a point where you don't have to actually populate the entirety of the nation, because we're good.
You're not working on a farm, and you don't need 18 kids to help you work the farmland. And then if 6 of them die from dysentery, you need to have 6 extra spares to keep doing the work.
Exactly. And so
people don't have that many kids. And not to mention the fact that you would think that we would be wonderful as far as medical care for pregnant women, but we aren't. These people keep dying during childbirth. So no, nobody's signing up to have 15 fucking kids just for the hell of it. No.
Not unless you got the proper cash. Other than that, you're on your own. And that's another issue. I already talked to people prior about how everything's been turned into a market, and even child rearing, healthcare, all that stuff is a market. If you can afford it, you got it. If you can't, we'll see what we can do. And so,
which I think is interesting, because when people say that they're pro-life, it's like you are pro-life up until the point that the baby gets here.
Yep.
And I think that is the most concerning part of all of it. If you're going to say you're pro-life and people shouldn't be able to have abortions, then why do you not care about these kids once they slip out of somebody's vagina?
Because
you ought to be stepping up to funnel tax dollars into WIC and Medicaid and Medicare and child education and child care programs. And they'll say that, we do that already. Yes, you do that. But the threshold to get any type of monetary payout or assistance is so fucking low that most people don't qualify, even though by national standards, they are living below the poverty line. Yeah. But you make it so that these people do not qualify for any programs, and then wonder like what the fuck the problem is. And then we have a whole foster care system where you are paying people to take other people's children. Yes. And it's like, why wouldn't you just pay the people that gave birth to them so that they're able to take care of them? Because if you take a kid and say, you can't financially afford your kid, and they don't have food or clean clothing or a place to live, and you can give them to somebody else, but then give that person $1,200 a month to take care of the kid, why do you not think that their parent couldn't have used $1,200 a month to take care of them?
Great questions. All great. But again, we don't care about people. We'll pretend to care about kids. But again, like you said, we're pro-life.
Up to the point to where they come out of a vagina. Then we don't care about kids anymore.
Yeah, and then it's no longer pro-life. Now you're just a failure. You failed the game of capitalism. Sorry. You just didn't play right.
We forced you to have this baby. And so now you can't take care of it. And now you're a shit god awful person because you can't take care of this baby that you knew you couldn't take care of in the first place, and we made you have anyway.
Yeah. It reminded me of, I don't know if you see this story. It was in Wisconsin. It was one of the I don't know what they call them, but basically think of a county. One of the counties out there. So for all the people who have kids, as of right now, as of right now, kids get free lunch because of, COVID, which then brings you to ask the question, like, should we have been doing that anyway? Like, we tell them they have to go to school. Why don't we feed them while they're there? whatever, fine. But the one county opted out, saying that, well, if we do this, it's going to cause kids to become spoiled. It's like, wait, kids are going to get spoiled by having food?
Off a $3 meal, because let's keep it a buck. They get federal assistance and state budget to pay for these things.
Exactly.
And so they aren't paying. It's not as if the administrators are paying for the food out of their pocket, and the meals cost like $4.
Yes.
So you're spoiling children with $4 worth of food,
yes,
after keeping them at school from 7:30 to 3:30 or whatever the fuck it is now.
Yes. So I think for mine, it's like $1.50 for breakfast and $2.50 for lunch. So we really out here complaining about like $4. Yeah, like you said, $4 for real. Like it's so wild, but.
Yeah, but they don't give a fuck about anything. Like so to me, it sounds like it comes down to how can we, as Christian evangelicals, police women? Because what other real reason is there that you have besides I think it's morally wrong because of Jesus?
Well, even if that's the case, who cares? Okay, you think it's morally wrong, don't do it.
And that's always been my thing. Again, separation of church and state. If you believe under the Christian Bible that abortion is wrong, then what does that have to do with another person who is not Christian, or if they are Christian? Doesn't matter. Like, why does your religious beliefs have any play in laws that we make for everyone?
They shouldn't.
Because you don't have to think it's morally right for me to get an abortion. Just like you don't have to think it's morally right if I want to worship, a pagan goat god and have a festival and swing around a maypole and blow bubbles and say that the bubbles are Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, none of that has any bearing on your life. So why the fuck do you care?
It doesn't matter. And that's why I was like, hell, if you want to worship in the Church of Batman for some strange reason, or you think that the Force is a real thing, you create a church around there, fine, whatever. Be a weirdo.
If I worship at the Church of Star Wars and I say, yeah, we think abortions are just fine.
Yeah.
Then what?
Speaking of which, there's actually kind of a funny story. So the Satanic Temple basically is trying to challenge it on the grounds of freedom of religion. And I was like, that's interesting. So based on this, it says that, let's see, the religion which does not have or believe in God filed a letter with the U.S. the FDA for some reason, to request his member have access to abortion pills on the grounds of freedom of religion. So, okay.
I mean,
yeah. I'd like to hear what part of the,
Well, I think it's because you can claim religious exemptions for certain things, much in the way that like Hobby Lobby, for instance, they're not required to pay for birth control, even though they're paying for insurance under their company. As a full-time employee of Hobby Lobby, if I wanted to use my health insurance to pay for birth control, they are not legally obligated to allow me to do that. I would have to pay for it out of pocket because they have religious exemptions. Yeah, wild shit.
Wait. Where does birth control come? So did Jesus come down and say, hey, my child, I would actually help heal you, but you have taken thy pill that caused lack of consumption of children, so therefore you're in sin?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, so the CEO of Hobby Lobby and Trump were like good friends. So this past like Trump era, and they were just like, nah, y'all can't do that. I don't want to pay for you to have birth control. You have these babies, and that's the end of it. I'm not paying for that. The government was like, yeah.
Didn't God pull like one of the biggest skeet and skedaddle scams of all time? It was like, yeah, just tell him it's my son. You good? Don't worry about it.
Big skeet, big skedaddle. And they were like, nope. That's big skeet, big skedaddle. Super skedaddle. And they were just like, nah. Yeah, so they just let them do that. And I said, wild times are afoot. But, hey, what do I know?
That's
right?
weird because in all these people who like to cry and decry freedom, again, freedom should not be able to restrict someone else's freedom. Like, I don't care if you're religious. Your religious freedom just means that you have the ability to practice, not you make everyone else do what you like them to do. It's not how that works.
And I mean, and yeah, that's the part that I don't understand. Religious freedom just means that I can't come and decide you need to go to jail or be burned at the stake because I don't agree with your religious practices. That's all it means. The same with freedom of speech that people like to misconstrue so badly. Like, no, you have the freedom of speech, but this means the government can't imprison you for it. It does not mean you can't get in trouble for the shit you said.
Yeah, but then historically we went back on that too. Just go read up on the Red Scare in hell, the Civil Rights era, maybe.
Well,
so okay, I'm just saying, like, so we even lie about that crap too. So get the fuck out of here.
We lie about a lot of things here. So I mean, it is what it is. So, just like, yeah. And then the other part of the abortion ban, Texas people, if you would like to become a bounty hunter, now is your chance.
Yes.
If you would like to become a pregnancy bounty hunter, you can. You can be given. You can sue people in court and get up to $10,000 for information in which you turn in your fellow Texans. If you know that they went to the abortion clinic, got a ride to the abortion clinic, if someone performed an abortion for them, and you know something about it, you can report them and get monetary gains from that.
Yo, this is so stupid. I'm sorry. I see it. Oh man, you know what? I think they actually ended up the site for GoDaddy is actually down at the moment, but I think people were like spamming it with like various different things like, hey, I seen Greg Abbott going to get an abortion, or hey, I seen Greg Abbott dropping his wife off to go get one, or this young girl.
Yeah, people have been super great in that regard. They have been, spamming the site. They plan to do that. So kudos to them and cheers for getting that shit to crash, because that's sickening, honestly. Yeah. No, and then they were saying, and then I believe Uber and Lyft both started driver defense funds, basically saying that they would pay 100% of any legal fees if necessary if one of their drivers was accused of aiding and abetting some poor woman for trying to get an abortion.
So good. So okay.
Abortion, aiding, and abetting. That's what we've come to here.
Yeah, and then it was even funny because there was reports coming out later on, because you know how these corporations that jumped on the bandwagon when it comes to, Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ rights or Asian live, fight against Asian, discrimination and things like that. But they're very silent on this one. And I remember I was talking to my buddy about it, and I said, well, I have a theory. I said some of the biggest issues that you always run into, and being a woman, you probably can attest to this at some point, is that employers don't want to have to pay you while you're off if you happen to have a child. They feel, for what I gather, a lot of employers feel like if they wanted you to have a child, they would have gave one to you. And so there's always been this big thing about, well, this is why when you think about it, we don't really have universal maternity leave across the board.
Yes.
And hell, we barely got paternity for dude. Like, we don't give a shit about fathers, if that's the case. But and so yeah, like, you got some ladies here. Again, I think I talked about it before, where they have to decide if they're either going to have a child. If they do, they may have to quit their job because, well, if I work at McDonald's or Walmart, they don't have maternity leave. I have to take my own personal time off in order to do that. It's not paid. Right. So I think that a lot of employers are like, yeah, kudos to this, which is still kind of weird, because I'm like, wouldn't abortions help you when it comes to your? I don't know. It's strange.
It's super weird that they are just expecting women to, I guess, not ever have a baby. Like, I don't. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, don't have a baby, because we're not going to pay you to be off or anything. God forbid you do that. But also, hey, don't get an abortion. So maybe when you have the baby, don't take maternity leave. Give the baby up for adoption so you could come back here.
Yeah, come back to work. Yeah. So, Jesus. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll have. But if there are any advocacy groups around you or near you, please join or do what you can to kind of get these type of bills like removed, and even the people who write them into law, get them the hell up out of office. And that's across the board. Because these are the
they
type,
all gotta go.
yeah,
This shit's crazy.
Because these are the type of people they're really trying to send us backwards in time versus moving forward. So they'll be on the wrong side of history. Shame on them.
That, and it's just like, and then I think people also do this thing where they say, oh, well, if you can't get an abortion in Texas, you can go somewhere else and get the abortion. I just want to point out to you guys, for those of you who are not familiar with the area around here, a lot of the poorer states in the country are usually ones that have Republican governments.
Yeah, which is it's interesting. Interesting correlation.
Which is interesting, but not neither here nor there. But the point of this is, in Texas, like, we're surrounded by a few places. So if I live in East Texas, the closest place to me would be to go to Louisiana. Or if I live in, like, North Texas, one of the closest places to me would be, like, Oklahoma if I'm in the Panhandle. Between Oklahoma and Louisiana, there are 8 abortion clinics.
Yeah. And if you had to go to a blue state, the closest is what, Arizona? I don't know about New Mexico.
I think, are they? I think maybe New Mexico would be the closest place you could go to get an abortion.
Blue? Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, but I think they do have, regardless, I think they do have abortion clinics. I don't know that by my own personal knowledge, but I do think that I have heard someone mention it before. I'm not from this area, but where I live now currently, New Mexico is closer to me than any of the other places. So it's my understanding that you can get an abortion there. I don't know how long it's going to last.
But then you have to also think the economic reality of a lot. Most people can't pay to travel to the next city, let alone the next state. So get out of here with this unrealistic expectations you're putting on people and not understanding the realities of life. A lot of people.
And then, if I say, damn, I'm pregnant and I can't afford this baby, but maybe I can save up 2 paychecks and be able to afford an abortion, which means a month. Well, now you can't get an abortion because as soon as the baby has a heartbeat,
yep, that's a wrap.
You're stuck with it. So, which, granted, the pregnant babies are a blessing crowd. Like, this is not for you. You can turn this one off. This may not be your 2 a.m. jam, and I'm so sorry, but we just do not advocate for the policing of women's bodies over this way. No. So sorry.
No, I mean, the only conundrum I ever ran into when it came to abortions would be, well, yeah, if you're married and you have a disagreement with your spouse on if you should have one or not, I'm not saying that ultimately it's still her decision, but you have to also acknowledge that may mess your relationship up in the end. Other than that, I don't care.
No, I agree with that, but I just think it's interesting that they're so willing to police women's bodies in birth control, but then, like, Viagra is federally funded, and that's just fine. Like, God forbid anybody have erectile dysfunction as God intended, but I can't get an abortion.
Yeah, like, they can go buy the rhino pills that they continuously pop that are killing or causing erectile dysfunction, but hey, at least I could pop off one good time, right? Maybe. If my dick don't explode.
What we're going to see is an increase in back alley abortions because there are going to be people who are still going. It's not because, much like before abortions were legal, people were still having abortions. They're not going to stop having them. They're just going to get cheap, just going to get shady back alley abortions because they can't get one legally and safely. So we're going to see an uptick in deaths because of people getting these shady ass ridiculous abortions. Much like we saw an uptick in deaths when we were under prohibition, and it ain't stopped us so from drinking liquor.
No.
Goddamn soul.
And that's the problem is we create, by not actually allowing these things to be legal, you create, like you said, an underground avenue for it where people now have to put themselves at more risk. So now what? It's dumb. Well, and more dumb stuff. Isn't there a story that you said on Twitter that you wanted to bring up about people scamming because of scamming's sake, like always?
So, listen, guys. Okay, I just preference this. I'm going to tell y'all a story. But I'm going to preference this with saying, like, we obviously all pandemic, all we have seen is people scamming, whether it be PPP loans or, running these weird ass scams or trying to get people to invest. Like, I don't know, like the amount of people who request me on Instagram to try to get me to join their Forex trading club or Ponzi scheme or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I get it. Everybody's broke. I understand. but scam the government, scam Navigate, scam Sally Mae. Like,
Yes.
scam somebody that we need you to fucking scam. Why are you scamming other broke people? Scam somebody with some fucking money.
Yeah,
Jesus.
like, look, how about why can't anybody hack into these banks or hell the people who have your credit scores and set everybody the perfect credit and make it to where none of that shit can change? Put everybody's student loan debt down to zero. Like, do something positive with your scams, bro. Like, come on, man. I do get tired of it because I always get somebody who will ask me like, "Hey, do you have Cash App?" Yes. Why? If I send you some money through Cash App, why would you want to send me money through Cash App? Please explain. Oh, well, it's an investment, see, because if you take that and no, thank you.
I can turn your X amount of money into some other amount of money. It's like magic, and don't ask me how it actually works or whatever, but we're going to do it. And it's like, what?
But that's been my issue is like, especially with that whole situation with, what's the name of that app? I think it was not Acorn. It was the other one. That's
Robinhood?
Yeah, there we go with Robinhood. Now everybody thinks they're a day trader. And, oh God, it's so weird. I don't know. It's like we're trying our best, and I get it. Everybody's trying their best to make it and function from day to day, and we don't really know how to fight the system overall. So we're trying to find our best way to like carve into it. But sliding into people's DMs, trying to come up with some pyramid scam, because at the end it's just some pyramid scam. Let's just stop it. I know we like to read
something.
Yeah, some of them. And we all know those pyramid scams because almost all of us got put into it at some point. Vector marketing. Shit, how many other ones? Hell, even the one, I think it was, I don't know, I had to deal with like selling people protein shakes and shit like that. But anyways.
Yeah, Herbalife, and then there was the one with the leggings. Like, it's literally
LuLaRoe. Yeah, LuLaRoe.
Yeah, like it was, y'all are crazy. Like, y'all are insane, and God bless you, because I just, none of it seems sustainable. Like, let me get this straight. You want me to sell leggings, but I have to buy all the leggings up front, and then you're going to discontinue the leggings. So then, like, okay, Avon.
I mean, keep it real. Let's keep it real. Hell, you can almost say Girl Scout cookies, but at least I think people like those, so they let you make it from year to year.
At least you actually get cookies, and it's a product, and they don't try to induct you into the Girl Scouts and force you to sell cookies that you have to buy off them to make a profit. So they're not quite a pyramid scheme, but it is kind of scammy.
Yeah. And so it brings up the question, though. It's like, why are... I have a good reasoning, but... in your thoughts, why do you think people are so willing to listen to a random stranger online when it comes to financial, I guess you say financial advice? Because there was a guy. Oh, I'm gonna get into this because there's a guy with the school with it. He claimed he's like this financial guru because he read Dave Ramsey's book one time. But I'm gonna get your opinion on it, and I'll go into that later.
Yeah, so I think part of it is like FOMO. I think it's fear of missing out, right? Social media has given people the ability to say that they are experts in things and are knowledgeable about subjects that they really are not knowledgeable about or experts about, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so you see these people online, much like I think it essentially is like much like an influencer for whatever. It is like a financial influencer, right? Like, these people are getting on Instagram or on Twitter and saying, oh, well, I just made $1 million this year, or I just copped 20K. And you see them with Lamborghinis and nice suits and going on trips and telling you, oh, it's easy. You can get in on this. And I think it's desperation. And I say that because a very good podcast. Shout out to Lacey Mosley over at Scam Goddess podcast. It's like a big podcast, but she always talks about it like what is the desperation meter on the person that you are conning, right? And I think we are in a time that is unprecedented where people are out of work. The rent moratorium is up there, so rent is due. People are not making a living wage. You're behind on all of your bills because you weren't working, and so
or
you're just
you have
trying
to get cut back on hours, or hell, your job just sucks.
Or your job sucks, or you're just tired of living paycheck to paycheck, or the paychecks aren't enough and you have 3 jobs, whatever it may be. When people get to a certain desperation level or just want more than what they have, they're looking for an out. And if you are telling people that I can save you, I understand what you're going through. I used to be like you, and I can fix this for you if you just listen to what I'm telling you, or you just give me $5,000. I can turn your $5,000 into $50,000. Look at all these people that I've done this for. And regardless of how stupid it seems to us, if you are desperate to the point to where you're thinking this will solve all your problems, then you're not thinking rationally to begin with.
Yeah. And I mean, well put. Oh, damn, that reminded me so much of going, man, I'll never forget when my homeboy brought me to that type of stuff, man. He was like, oh, man, I got this business opportunity for you, bro. You looking to make a little extra money? Sure, I guess.
Money.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I was in college at the time too. And he goes, yeah, man, just make sure you wear a shirt and tie when you come to this. I was like, that's kind of a weird request, but sure, whatever. Met up at a little coffee shop, and they had these people coming with all these boards and this and that. And it's like, yeah, we're going to help you with this type of marketing. How they put it, multi-level marketing and blah, blah, blah. And if all you got to do is you get this amount of stuff, and then you got to go and recruit these people. And I'm like, oh, damn, I got pulled in one of these? Shit.
Right. You're just like, oh, hell, I'm not going to do that shit.
And I'm like, because you even when you listen to it, your antennas go and be like, wait, you want me to do? So I'm not selling anything per se. I get other people to sell the stuff for me, and then I take all the money and then just kick them back a few, and then they will be able to lead their own team one day. And it's like, yeah, that's the most hustling is scammiest bullshit I ever heard. Like, that's crazy. But
yeah, and we're gonna do what now?
Yeah.
And what? And this works how? And nobody ever explains it to you in a way that makes any fucking sense. So you're just sitting there like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and they get you because, the guy presented, they got like this nice tailored suit on, and then they rolled up here in like a Porsche or something like that, and you like, I want one of those. But when you realize
I want a Porsche.
Yeah, but you realize a lot of people, they buy those, put themselves in the red, but they use that to really hustle people into the game because of the idea of, spectacle.
Yeah, essentially it's a business expense to them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody. Yeah, matter of fact, that'd be cool. Yeah, share your stories because I know a lot of people have that. Share your stories when you try to get pulled into like a multi-level, pyramid scheme or some kind of Ponzi scheme, or people are hitting you up, or for some investment opportunities, quote unquote.
Quote unquote investment opportunities.
Because that's what it is. Like, come on, man. Like, never mind. For all those people, when you are investing, there's usually not a lot of short returns. That's unless you're doing like day trading, which means you're doing that like all day to see what's usually you're doing it with like volatile products or volatile stocks. And you're trying to just get as much as you can and cash out. But other than that, investment take years because you want to compound it on each other. But never mind, whatever.
Yeah, so let me run down this story for y'all. So this gentleman goes by the Twitter handle at B_RE_invest, or Mr. Chicken Tenders is what it says.
Mr. Chicken Tenders.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know if it's that now. I don't. Anyway, so one gentleman who he put, I guess I would say his handle because he told the story. At God Little Cousin, GODLILCOUSIN, at God Little Cousin, was like, man, I've been debating all night if I want to tell my story about it. This nigga B scammed me for $20K. Here goes. Now, I know you have questions and I can see it in your eyes. How does one get scammed out of $20,000? But we're gonna find out.
Okay. Yeah.
He says, back in 2019, bruh used to tweet, if you got 10K or more to invest with me, I'll give you a 25% return in 2 months. So we're just going to pause there for your thoughts.
Okay. Give you 20,000 and in 2 months, you'll give me 25% more on top of my 20,000. Yeah. I got questions.
I don't have answers because I too had the same questions as to how that investment works. Apparently, no further detail was given as to how you get a 25% return on a 20K investment in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he was basically calling this nigga Big Bruh in his mind and was like, yeah, I'm going to get my money together so I can invest. So he says, fast forward to last year, 2020, he gets the money, and him and several of his friends put down the 10K and they wire him the money. So they have not signed any type of contracts. They have not got this person's whole name. They have wired some man,
some random guy,
$10,000, right? $10,000 of their money with no contractual obligations or anything. So he says 2 months later, he sent them a check in the mail for 12.5K.
Okay.
Check cleared, all was good. Sounds like the makings of a Ponzi scheme to me.
Yes. Wow.
So I don't know how he doesn't. Apparently, these children don't know who Bernie Madoff is.
No.
Can't. Because anything that sounds like returns on it, like that is literally the oldest investment scam in the book.
Yeah.
So the children don't know who Bernie Madoff is, and it shows.
No, yeah. Enron, just go look up Enron. It's a fun story. A lot of people got
Enron's
hurt in
a
it.
Fun story. Oddly enough, Ponzi schemes are named after a person.
Yes.
Who was the originator of the scheme. You could also Google that. Because had they done any Googles or on any three of those, they would have known better than to think you should get a 25%.
No, because what most likely happened, and I'm assuming here, is that he ran that same hustle on numerous people. So what you got was money from other people to then make it seem like you got a return.
Bingo. All right. So he said, great, that went good. He says he puts up 10K and a few other people put up 5K. 2 months later, he said, give him a few days, and he sends back a check for $18,750. They said, cool, shit is going great. We're going to invest more money. So August of last year, the guy says he's going to put up 20K himself. He's like, 5K investment over 2 months, good money. And he said, and all I'm doing is let him invest in flips. No brainer. Now, I don't know what invest in flips mean. I'm assuming
like flipping homes?
He's investing the money in like home flipping.
Okay.
Which I'm not saying that that's not a good investment. But if you are investing in someone purchasing homes and flipping them, you should have some type of contract saying that you have partial ownership in this house that they have purchased and flipped. You should be able to tell the address to someone of where this property that you are partial owner is. And then when it is sold, you should be able to look up a record of sale for this home and then know, okay, well, when this clears escrow, I'm going to get my money.
I mean,
I'm not following. Really.
if that's the case, I have some lakefront property in Arizona, if they will like some. Beachfront, actually. So yeah, I mean, yeah, give me money and I'll let you invest in some beachfront property in Wyoming and let's do this.
So clearly, you'll believe any fucking thing.
I'm just saying, like, all right.
So
first of all,
he says.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, first of all, you should never ever just give a stranger any type of money online, regardless of what they say they're capable of doing, unless they actually come from an investment firm. But most likely, you'll go through the firm in order to do that. Yeah, protect your money, people. Like, we'll go ahead and continue.
Yeah, it was insane. So he says, fast forward. Now this is August 2020. We're now in May. We're now in March of 2021. This year, He says he still has not gotten his money back from the 20K.
Yeah, dude dip. He said, "Oh shit, he gave me money 3 times." Yeah, that's a wrap, bro.
So he tells the guy, "Look, I'm gonna need my investment back or whatever the returns are. Done with this loan. I'm gonna come to Seattle and get my money." So he says he spent his own money, goes over to Seattle so he can get his check and he can be done. He's like, look, I just want the return you promised me, whatever. He says he gets there and he finally meets with him the last day that he's there right before his flight, which I'm sure the gentleman planned it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So he says he couldn't get to the bank because to deposit the check the gentleman gave him because his flight was early. And he says we didn't meet until 9 p.m. the night before. So he says he cashes the check when he gets back to where he was. So then he wakes up and his account balance is like negative $30,000. Now, I will say this. One, where do you bank that you couldn't take a picture of the check and deposit it that way?
I don't know, man. He may have that green dot card, man. You know how that, I don't know.
You got a green dot card, but you letting okay. So many things wrong. Mm-hmm. Also, whatever. He's saying that he took the money out and his account was negative $30,000. Because my thing is, if if the person wrote you a check and you deposited the check and the check don't clear because it bounced, why are you negative 30 grand?
Yeah, that's the other question, because the check should only be for 20, right?
The check I guess the check should have been 20 plus the
okay, let's say 20. Okay, so 25K. Unless your bank charges you 5,000 plus because of a bounce check, which you need to leave that bank immediately. It sounded like he was already in the hole, fella.
He had to already have been in the hole, and then if he wasn't already in the hole, then the thing that's concerning here is that means you deposited the money and then immediately took it out. What bank lets you deposit $20,000 and then take it back out? Not
many. Now, I know with mine, if you were to do a check, I don't know about personal check, but if you were to do like a check from a business or something along those lines, it deposits right away, like immediately. But it's still probably potentially pending in case it comes back as like, hey, this is a bad check. We finna go ahead and snatch that right back. But the other question is, did you take a personal check from a guy who was supposed to be investing things? Because that's already a red flag there as well.
He shouldn't be writing you checks from his personal account.
Absolutely not.
Hold on, because there's a picture of the check from Bank of America that he wrote him. I'm gonna see if I can hold it up, but to me, it's gonna be hard to see.
Yeah,
you kind of see it.
Yeah, I kind of see it. Yeah, it's a personal check.
That is a personal check. Yeah.
Come on, man.
That is a personal check. Yeah. So he took a personal check from somebody. So this is where that's how shit got fucked up. So he says he put the check in the mail 2 to 3 days shipping. Because at this point, the gentleman is back at his home and he's like, hey, the check you wrote me bounced. And he's like, oh, I mailed you one. Sorry. So then he says, my new CPA will be sending out wires tomorrow. If the check comes eventually, please destroy it. So he says, all right, I don't have it yet. Okay. And he was like, you sure it'll work though? The wire, I mean. And he was like, yeah, if not, you have Navy Fed, right? Whenever I get out of the hospital, I can withdraw some cash out of my bank and deposit it into your account. There's a Navy Federal up here.
You can actually deposit checks virtually through your app with Navy Federal, so I don't know
with
why.
Most banks. So yeah. I don't know what I don't understand how any of this happened. Like I would have had, he would have handed the check to me in my hand,
and we would have deposited right then and there.
Right the fuck then. I don't care if it's 9 p.m. They would have had that check.
Yeah, and I would have been like, "Hold tight, brother. We finna see if this actually goes through." And wait, did he all of a sudden ends up in the hospital? Like, what is going on? Like, it's a wild story.
Right, so then he ends up in the hospital. So then he says, up until now, the guy sent me 8 bands. Also, on top of the 25 he owed me from the original investment, he was going to throw in another 5, then at one point was going to send $39K. So I'm like, all right, cool. I trust him. Now, I can't imagine why you trust the person because they told you 2 months for the return. And the last time you saw your return was the year before.
Yeah.
So, not December to February, August to March.
Yes.
So I don't know how you're still trusting him.
You shouldn't. If that's the case, that's. Oh God.
And then he says he also bought merch from him a few times, and one time he left like a $60 tip. So I'm like, all right, he got money. A few people told me he might be a scammer, but I wasn't hearing. So basically, because a nigga bought $160 worth of t-shirts from you, you said, oh, he got money.
Man, that is kind of, if that's the case, that just tells you where we are in the U.S. when it comes to people having a little pocket change, bro. Because if somebody's spending $150 on
you spending $160 at my Instagram t-shirt boutique does not make me feel like I should give you $20,000.
No, not even close, like at all.
Not even a little.
Like, I'm gonna need y'all to be a little bit more careful on these internet streets, man. Because in that case, you should have just took that money and invested in the Instagram, not Insta, but OnlyFans model. At least she could utilize the money, or he or she, whatever whatever your get down is. But at least it would have went to a better cause.
Video or something.
I'm just saying, you probably could have flew him out and just held out with him. But instead, you're wasting time with people who are just stealing money from you, and then at least, one thing I can say is at least the guy didn't ghost him, because technically that's generally what will happen. That you give them the money and you never hear from them again, and you found out that even the page that they had was a fake page, and then they disappear forever. So that's one plus, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, he says so now we're in this current week when shit got crazy on Twitter when they unleashed this shit. So he says, he was like, I need my money. So he says, I'm flying to Memphis where you are. So he's in Seattle. Now he's in Memphis. I'm flying to Memphis. Just give me cash. Now, okay. I don't know what kind of investment person or investment firm has $40,000 lying around just
none
in cash to give you, but sure, whatever. So he was like, I'll meet you somewhere. And he was like, so then the gentleman asked the scammer if he wanted to grab breakfast. And he was like, yeah. And he was like, just let me know when you leave the bank. And so then he texts him again and says, you alive? And he says, yeah, I'm still here at the police station for the moment. Then the gentleman says he's headed to the bank. So he says, I'm actually headed to the airport to get a rental car. He says, bet I should be done by the time you are. He says, I got the rental. Where are you? He says he's at the bank in Cordova. He says, I will meet you somewhere in Cordova when you leave there, or I can just scoop the money. He tells him to meet him at some place called Kooky Canuck around 6:45. He says, bet. They meet there, and he says, I'm here. He says, I'm pulling up in 10. The gentleman says, hey, it looks like this place is closed. There's nobody out here. He says, well, okay, when I pull up, we can just go somewhere else if you want, or I'll just drop it off. He says, all right, bet I'll be here. We can pull up somewhere. And then he says, let me take care of you in the morning. This shit done blew me. What is the shit? What blew you? That the Kooky Canuck was not open?
Yeah, like, I don't care how you feeling. Come run me my cash.
And the part that really blows me from this is that this man said he was leaving the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at these screenshots. Both of these people have iPhones. He would have needed to share his location to me of the bank.
Yes.
Fuck that. I am meeting you. You're at the bank right now getting my money?
Oh, yeah. I'll meet you at the bank.
Outside the fucking bank. Because why do you need to leave the bank with my money to go any motherfucking where?
Exactly. And I would have met you at your house. Hey, we gonna travel. I will look, we going together. I'll walk in with you. I'll sit over in the corner.
Yeah, we've been at the bank together. There's no reason for me not to leave the bank with my money. You at the bank? Bet. I'm also at the bank.
Exactly.
Where's the bank? So to end this, he says basically the next morning, he says, cool. Let me know and let this nigga go. So he says, okay. So then when he texts him, then all of a sudden the text got green bubbles because he unblocked this nigga. So he got scammed.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And wow, look, bro, you should have took your money when the getting was good and just dipped. Like, hey, look, I got lucky with this one. Let me chill. But I understand how it can be. It's like gambling. Like you try and you like, ooh, I won a little bit. Let me try it again. Maybe I'll win some more. That's how they get you. That's why the house always wins.
Yeah, and it's wild because after this happened and a bunch of other people were like, oh, hey, shit, he scammed me too. Let's all talk about it. They got him on a Twitter Spaces in a room to talk about the scams. And then when somebody, I think the Versus was on, maybe there was a boxing match or something on.
Oh.
He was like, oh, no, I lied. Certified Lover Boy dropped. And so he was like, fuck y'all, I gotta go listen to the album. And dipped out of the spaces that they had made with him to confront him about his scams. Now, the part that's concerning about this is that no one has gone to the police.
Yeah, that's why. It's like, why haven't we all reported this dude as pulling fraudulent, check fraud, fraudulent activity, monetary fraud?
Yeah. Yes, but then they did pull up on him somewhere and record it and post it to Twitter, but they didn't beat his ass.
And he walked away?
They just stood out there and had the nigga on camera, and then it was all on their phones in a picture together, but they were just standing there. Like,
nah, man.
Nobody left with their money. Nobody left with that nigga eyeball in their hand. His hands wasn't broke. He didn't write them no other bounce check, like nothing.
Look, he would have to run me them pockets, and I'm leaving with the car. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm getting this money back somehow. And
couldn't happen in Texas. We open carry now out of death off the pistol. Like, bitch, who are you playing with?
Yeah, look, who you think you playing with? But damn, I guess scams have been pretty much the thing this past week. Because y'all leave with this last one, Bishop Sycamore, which I will go ahead and say I never heard of the school at first until recently.
Well, that's because it wasn't a school until recently.
Oh yeah. It's pretty much the DeVry of high schools.
Is it even that? Because they weren't going to school.
Yeah, apparently it was a online only charter school.
Oh, they weren't going to school, sweetie. That's the part that we're going to get to.
Okay.
That. They weren't going to school.
Never mind. I remember listening to the watching the game, and they were like, "Yeah, apparently there's some online only charter school." And I said, first of all, that's a problem.
Super big problem.
And then apparently the school is in Ohio, but they're a part of a Texas Christian district, like with private schools. So I was like, wait, you're in Ohio, but you're affiliated with a Texas Christian schools? Like, how does that work?
It was working, apparently.
Hey, man, look. Apparently they've been playing since like 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And that wasn't the first time they played IMG either. They played IMG last year in 2020.
And got their ass tore up.
Oh yeah, they got stomped then too. But apparently it was funny listening to like the commentary on it, because they were like, yeah, apparently they said this school has about has some D1 prospects. And you know, to be matter of factly, we couldn't find any of that information. But
which is insane, because if you couldn't find any of the information, why do you have these people on television? Like, ESPN got the shit scammed out of them, but it was only their own fault, because it's like, how do you blow the assignment this badly? For lack of a better way of putting it, like, how do you fudge this up so badly that no one fact checks any of this, and then you don't look at the fact that last year they got their ass, like a mud hole stomped into their ass.
Yes. That was the weird part. And I was like, you mean to tell me that no one who's paid to schedule these things cared to look into who they were? Like, I don't understand. Like, how'd that work? But and that's why they got stomped out. Yeah, and also apparently that was their third game in like 5 days, I think.
5 days or something.
Yeah, they had traveled over on, I want to say, the West Coast, and then they made them travel all the way to the East Coast of Florida to play IMG, and it's like, then apparently they're like between ages 18 and 20, so that's another red flag there. That was another concern, because you got, you know, older guys playing against 15 to 18-year-olds, and they still got their ass whooped. How does that work?
They were playing FedEx employees, and I found that to be wildly interesting. But yeah, they were playing FedEx employees in football, and I don't understand how you leave leave second shift to go play football, and then you tear your ACL, and now you got to explain to your wife and 3 kids why you can't
Yeah, you got to go to your job afterwards. Like, hey, yo, Ben, man, why you walking funny? Oh man, I just got through playing football. Oh man, you in college? Nah, high school. Oh, aren't you like going on 21?
40.
Yeah, you can still play. It's like all of a sudden you got more questions. Like, wait, hold on, how can you play high school as if you didn't finish? You're out of high school. How's that work?
It doesn't. That's the point.
Man, God. And then apparently their head coach and even another guy on the coach had on the coaching staff have warrants out for their arrest because of, it's funny, bank fraud or check fraud. So there you go. Obviously, it's just running.
Check fraud probably stemming from the fact that basically they were sued because they were originally it was some other school. It was like a Christian school online, and they were funded by a church. And basically they said they were going to build a campus and all this other shit that did not happen. They just took the people's money. So the lawsuit is pending because they said that they took the money under the guise of building a Christian school campus, and that never came to fruition.
Are we talking about?
So the church sued them for the money back.
Are we talking about Umar Johnson here?
Seems like it.
Hey, never mind. I'm not going there. Oh, matter of fact, Umar, that's all you should have did, bro. Say you was gonna start a football team. You would have been good. But nah, go ahead.
So after that transpired, they changed their name to Bishop Sycamore. Obviously, we hear about the games and the scheming. Well, then several ex-players have come out to just talk about their experiences at Bishop Sycamore. Now, they have a kid that talks about his experience, and I will say this. Now, this kid got recruited to play there, and he was like 15 or 16. So he was going into his junior year.
He was from New York, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, or something to that effect. Wherever he's from, it's not where the school is. And so he gets recruited to play there. And so basically his mom sends him off with these people thinking that he's going to get a good education and play football. And they basically build this and sold it as, we're going to be like Hard Knocks, but for high school. Yeah,
we're the IMG of the Midwest. It's basically how they tried to market it.
Correct. And so that obviously is not true, but that's what they're telling these people who are thinking they're sending their kids there for a chance to do something, great.
Yeah.
So he gets there and he basically is like, no, we were put in a hotel. There was no campus. He says that he was put in a hotel. They lived in a hotel all summer. He got there thinking that it's the summer. We're going to train, practice. He said they would go practice somewhere. And then they were in the hotel. And then he says that when school should have started in August, they didn't do any schoolwork.
Yeah.
He was never taken anywhere to do any schoolwork. He wasn't given like online access to do schoolwork. Nothing. He basically was just told, hey, whatever. So they're practicing. And then he says about October, they take them to the library. But he was like, what the fuck are we going to do here? Like, I haven't been to, what is this? What is the library going to help now? So he was just like, fuck it. But then apparently, I guess at some point, staying at the hotel ran out because they were not paying their bills and the checks they were writing were bouncing. So they put them in some type of housing. So I guess they got some type of probably backing or community booster, cash infusion, whatever. So basically they put them in like, I don't know, some trailers or like housing where they were all in the houses together, rooming there. Well, the problem with this is that it wasn't a bunch of other 15 and 16-year-olds. It was grown people who were 20 and 24 or 25 or whatever from all over the country, grown-ass men with wives and children and whatever the fuck else coming there to play quote-unquote high school football.
Yeah.
So he said on multiple occasions they came to blows and fights and there were altercations because it is a bunch of grown men living in a house together
with kids
where they're supposed to be teenagers. Yes. With unsupervised teenagers.
Yeah, and I think he said something along the lines they didn't even really have food or anything. They had to go out and hit the streets, basically. And
right. He said they were stealing from grocery stores for food because they just didn't have beds, food, toiletries, nothing. None of that was provided to them. They were in these houses.
Oh, God.
So then he says he basically, finally, he told the truth, I guess. Because he's calling, his mom's calling to check on him and he's lying, saying, yeah, everything's great. Everything's wonderful. I'm going to class. I'm making good grades, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up having to repeat his junior year. Like, he go through like some type of summer school or like extra intensive program to get through his junior year to have enough credits to basically make it up so that he could play football at a reputable high school his senior year.
Yeah. And that's the major problem with it. It's a funny story when you hear about it, but you also have to realize the harm it's causing to the people who participate in, especially the younger kids and the parents who believe that their kids, like you said, are going to actually being recruited to this prominent high school so they can get more eyes on them so they can be recruited to a college, which kind of also opens up the avenues of discussing how problematic some college sports can be, because especially for a lot of people, that's their only way out. And the pressures of trying to make it to a big time school in order to just come back and potentially provide for your family is kind of crazy. Now, apparently, I think Netflix, I think Kevin Hart is actually supposed to direct some kind of docuseries about this as well. I think there was a report on that the other day, which I guess the guy technically, was it Roy Johnson, I think was the head coach, told him that they were going to be on Netflix one day, and I guess he was somewhat correct.
For the wrong reason, but I mean, he going to jail because
definitely. Like, yeah, he's
not going to be on Netflix. He's going to prison.
But also think about this: you went on live TV, knowing you had to know you had a warrant, and you went on live TV. They know where you are now. Like, come on, bro. Like,
crazy.
Come on, man. You're on national TV.
On national TV with warrants. Like, that is insanity.
Oh, man. It's like,
is it like hiding in plain sight, kind of? Like, well, I mean, I know I got these warrants, but who would expect to look for me, at coaching a high school football team on ESPN? No one would think that I would be there.
I guess that's his thought, or maybe he was like, shit, fuck it, I'm going to be famous after this shit. That's...
You still going to prison, my guy?
Oh, man. And then you weren't even a good team. That's the bad thing. It's like, if you were at least a good team, it would have made sense. Like, not really, but you would have been like, well, at least they got the win. But you go out there and literally get beat on by kids. And
grown men getting their ass beat in football by kids. Which, I mean, granted, you're either good at football or you're not. Like,
that's true. Like, you're either good or you're not. It's like, but these, I don't know.
Age in football is not one of those things that...
Well, I mean, I would look at it like this. If you're 20 and you're going up against a 15-year-old, he's 15, bro.
Okay, before we go any further now, let's not give IMG too much, because the quiet as it's kept in the room or on the street is,
I mean,
motherfuckers at IMG might not be 15 either.
Maybe. Hey, that's possible, because apparently...
Allegedly. I don't know how true or false that is. Allegedly. They're saying the kids at IMG may not be teenagers all the time either.
Hey, that's possible. Now, he's 19 and a half. That's technically a teenager. So we will say...
So, I'm not going to say one way or the other, but what I can tell you...
Word on the street is there might be some... I think that's every high school. Again, sports have got to that point where it's like there's a lot of scams and a lot of rule breaking because the necessity to win. Because when you win your winning program, you get more money funneled into it. You get more money in your pockets. That's why these colleges try their hardest to get all these recruits to go to their universities. Because now I don't know with the rule change and see how that's going to play out. But at the time, yeah. That's the whole reason you went to Alabama. Other than that, who goes to Tuscaloosa? What is there? So, football. Yeah, we know what's up. That's why I used to hate it when these stories came out like, oh, man, such and such got paid when he was at such as, I don't know, Ole Miss. You're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you think he just went to Ole Miss because he loved racism?
He just wanted... He just
the time-honored tradition of Southern racism made him travel from New York to go to Ole Miss. Like,
yes, exactly. Yes, the college that had a Confederate officer as their mascot once upon a time. Yeah, he wants to go to Mississippi.
Yeah, he's ready. That's what he
Come on,
to
bro.
do.
Like,
let it go. Some of that is crazy. So they just. God bless them. Peace to those children. Like, just don't send your kids to online charter school. And if you're an adult, don't enroll in online charter school for teenagers. That's very
No.
sad.
How
Please
about
go to work.
if you please start looking into things before you just decide to sign up for them. Don't feel pressure to make a decision right away. If someone does that, just think it's a scam. If they need a decision that day, it's a scam. Don't worry about it. And if you missed it, you missed it. Oh well.
I tend to agree. I think that is kind of the moral of the entire episode. If it seems too good to be true, then it probably is.
Yes. But if you don't think so,
don't sign up for online charter schools. Don't give people $20K of your money randomly.
Yeah.
That you. Okay.
But then again, if you don't believe so, again, I still got that beachfront in Wyoming, and I think Umar Johnson's going to start a football team for his academy for all boys too. So hey, man, yeah, let's get it going.
Yeah, and I'm selling white lady sensitivity classes. I'm also selling like box braids for white ladies. What else do I have?
Those Rachel Dolezal specials.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have a business where I flip dog houses.
That makes sense.
10K investment. And I can at 30% return in a month and a half on these beautiful, gorgeous Tudor style 2-story dog houses that I'm flipping. All the rage. Cat houses too. That's next.
Yeah, all of it. Hey man, look, we just trying to make some moves out here, baby, because we got to get all this money out here ready for everybody.
Beachfront property for your parakeets. We got it.
Yeah, you just got to know what you're doing.
In Idaho.
Because random guy on internet has all, we got all the all the tricks and all of the trade and everything. But yeah, if y'all want to hit us up on any of that stuff, hit us up on Twitter at choppingitup_pod. Let us know if you're interested in any of those investment opportunities, or if you just want to tell us how the show went, that's fine too. V, anything else coming up on this weekend? Or hell, the weekend's over, my bad. For the week coming up.
Labor Day is tomorrow, so happy Labor Day.
Yeah.
There's that. Happy Labor Day. I'll be working from home, which means I will take my computer out of the bag and set it up. And because we're closing the month, so I actually do have to work, but I'm gonna do that by the pool, probably. I'm also gonna barbecue, so I really don't give a fuck what they got going. To be honest, I'm sick of this shit. But yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
I did my hair while I sat here and chatted with you, so.
Yeah, for those moments where she was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. She was working on it.
I'm sorry. I had a braid in my mouth. So sorry.
Oh, man. No, what about any new episodes coming out or anything like that?
Let's see. Tuesday, there should be a new episode of Murder v. Wrote out. That will be on H.H. Holmes and Murder Castle.
Okay.
So that should be out Tuesday or Wednesday, more than likely Tuesday. It just depends on what I get done tomorrow. And then all docked up, we'll have a new episode, or you can catch us when we live stream that. That's normally Sundays at 8.
Okay. All right.
Yes, you can catch us there. I think we're covering the Untold Malice at the Palace this week, so I'm super excited about that.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I remember when that happened. I remember having a debate with my dad about that whole situation. He's a basketball player. He's a professional. He should never. I said he threw a bottle at his head. People got beat up for less. Stop it.
Yep.
Oh man, but other than that, let's see. Got a new episode of Happy Politics coming out here this week. We're just getting that edited up, and we'll get that sent out. And other than that, I think that's pretty much covers it. We appreciate all the viewership, all those who stuck with us. Eventually, I'm actually make our way on the online and kind of get some visuals going. V's up for it, so we'll try to get that.
We'll start getting some visuals for you guys, because sometimes you need to see our expressions.
Yes, definitely. But I've been working on trying to, get some of that stuff down. Maybe even taking us over to Twitch for a bit. Who knows? We'll figure some stuff out. But
where can the people find you?
Oh, well, shoot. Outside of the show's Twitter, you can also hit me up on Instagram, and as well, I do have my Twitter still open, which would just be shit. I ain't using it so long outside of being angry, but
Underscore Q
at underscore
underscore
Q.
the.
There you go. At underscore Q underscore the underscore great, and yeah, you can hit me up on there as well. You see my either angry rant tweets or anything like that. I'm about to say Twitters. That sound old now, but other than that, and also on Instagram at just underscore no Q underscore simp. So yeah, check me out there as well. You didn't give yours, man.
Well, you can find me the same old places. It's at VJ underscore Burton on Twitter and on Instagram. The other show's Twitter is at Murder V Pod. It's the same on Instagram as well. So you can catch me in all 4 of those places.
All right. Oh man, other than that, man, we're gonna let y'all get back to it. We appreciate your time, and we up out.
Bye.
Recording stopped.